Hi, this is Dr. Omar Danoun, a neurologist and researcher on COVID-19 and the brain at Henry Ford Hospital in Detroit, Michigan. I will talk today about the different variants and mutations of COVID-19, and we'll talk about how the variants happen, how to prevent them, and if the vaccines are effective against those variants, and how to protect ourselves from those variants. So what does a mutation mean? So mutations means that there is a change in the DNA sequences, and usually it's random and occurs when copying genetic sequences. Think of it as a copy machine that copies millions and millions of copies, and sometimes errors happen. And usually this is harmless, but sometimes it's significant and can cause problems. It's very important to understand where in the virus these changes are happening. So we know that the mutations happen mostly in the spike protein. The virus usually uses spike protein to stick to the cells and enter into the cells for replication and copying itself. And also the immune system recognizes and fights those spike proteins. So it's a very critical part of the virus. How does mutation occur in COVID-19? Usually this happens when the virus replicates itself millions of times in a host with low immunity that selects for more resistant viruses. Think of it as this way. The patient has low immunity, not enough to kill the virus, but enough to start killing some viruses. So the virus, what it does, it keeps mutating itself to avoid the immune system, and this way it will create more potent and more mutant variants of itself, so to escape the immunity. And this can happen in cancer patients or patients with low immunity, such as HIV. So let's see what changes in the COVID-19 virus when mutations happen. So first, it will increase the affinity of that spike protein to the ACE receptor, which means that will lead to a better sticking into the cells and better viral entry. That will lead to a better replication and more viral production, which means more infectivity and more spread to other people. So this means that the virus is easier to spread to other people and makes it more infective. So this means, for example, 1,000 copies that makes you sick before, now only 100 copies can make you sick. So any cough or sneeze or touch to a doorknob can spread the virus. So the second thing can happen is a mutation that is deletion mutation, which there is a deletion in the place where the immune system recognizes and attacks the virus in the spike protein. So that will lead to escaping or weakening of the immune response, which leads to a more resistant strain to immunity and even to vaccines. But luckily, the immune system attacks multiple regions of the virus, and there are so many cells that are involved in this fight. So far we have good effective immune system against those viruses and those strains. So what are the available variants and how they are different? The first variant is B117, which was identified in UK, and the second variant is B1351, which was identified in South Africa, and the third one, which is P1, which was identified in Brazil. So the UK variant has a better entry to the cells, more replication, and it can escape immune system. However, the South African variant has a much better entry to the cells and more replication, and it can escape the immune system, which makes it possibly has a reduced vaccine efficacy against. So as the Brazil variant has much better entry to the cell, more replication, and it can also have escaping the immunity and can possibly reduce the vaccine efficacy. So luckily the UK variant is the dominant one in the world, and the South African and Brazilian variants are less spread throughout the countries. So the question stands now, is the vaccine effective against the new COVID-19 variants? The answer is yes, because the immune system fights multiple parts of the virus, and if some part evolves or changes, the immune system will be able to recognize other parts. However, some strains avoid part of the immune system, but they're still effective against them. So there is a chance in the future that we might need a booster vaccine designed even specifically for those variants to help us fight them. So how to protect yourself against COVID-19 variants? I think we should just practice common sense and maintain COVID-19 prevention methods like mask wearing, physical distancing, and hand washing. And we should know as a society that mass vaccination will prevent emergence of new strains just because there is less infection going on. In terms of future directions from here, we hope that no new variants can completely escape the immune response, which is unlikely to happen. However, we can design specific vaccines to a specific variant to a specific country, and we can give booster vaccines to strengthen the immune system to fight these variants, and these studies are currently undergoing. So we should understand that COVID-19 anywhere is COVID-19 everywhere. We should vaccinate the whole world, because if we don't do that, there will be an emergence of new resistant strains that will come to our shores and render our vaccines ineffective. So this should be a collaborative worldwide task. Thank you so much for watching. This is Dr. Omar Danoun, and please let me know in the comments if you want me to discuss any other subject of your interest, and you can like, share, and subscribe so that you get all my recent videos.